welcome to Mrs. Taylor's Crafty Classroom. This is your video about knitting. So, in case you haven't watched the other two of the textiles for the textile videos for this assignment, you have your choice of one of the three. You don't have to do all three. You have latch hooking, crochet, and now knitting. This is the final of the three videos. I've included other video links and other tutorial links and things in the assignments. So if it doesn't make sense what I'm showing you, then maybe one of the other links or tutorials will make sense. I definitely want you to get it. So if you don't understand, also you know how to get a hold of me. So come see me in my virtual classroom or whatever and ask your questions. But this is knitting. So I'm going to make this as quick as possible. It's something I'm not really comfortable doing. I don't do a lot of knitting. I have started a blanket. I will tell you that I have not gotten close to finishing it. In fact, just because you guys know I'm honest and I'm going to tell you, as far as knitting goes, this is as far as I've ever gotten on knitting. It's going to be super cute if I ever get it done, but that's as much as I've gotten done of a blanket. Now you see how it's all real ruffly. It's kind of cute, but it's because you're pushing a whole blanket onto one needle. So, I mean, maybe I might get it done by the time I have grandbabies, you know. Hopefully 20 years from now, I'll have it done. Anyway, that is my actual knitting project. Now, because I showed you that, I'm going to show you that I was using plastic knitting needles for that project because I wanted a small knit, because it's a baby blanket. I wanted it to be small, so I'm using smaller plastic knitting needles for this video. I'm going to use larger wooden knitting needles because these are the ones that I give you guys when we're actually in person. This is a size 13. It actually says the size on the knitting needle. They don't all say that. They don't all have a size. I have an idea for you guys though that I found online, how to make knitting needles from chopsticks. So if you have a cheap, you know, the free chopsticks from Tokyo or wherever, you can turn them into knitting needles. So there is a tutorial in your assignment on how to do that. It's basically just sharpening the end and sanding it. You have to sand it. You can't have anything to catch on the yarn. But if you do that, you'll have a set of knitting needles. There are also ways of knitting by hand. I'm not going to include those in the lesson, but you can look those up and find those as well. Without tools. Knitting by hand meaning your hand is the knitting needle. Now, the way I'm going to show you is the way that the tutorial shows you that I've included in your assignment. So the first thing you do is just like in crochet, you're going to make a slip knot. So to make a slip knot, you've got lots of ways to do it. You can do it. Oh, see, I almost pulled my slip all the way through. You can do it whatever way you prefer, but a slip knot is not an actual knot that won't come undone. A slip knot means if you pull these two, the loop is gone and so is the knot. It's not going to leave a knot in its wake. So what you do is you just wrap it and you're going to pull through, but not all the way. So you're going to pull a loop through like that. Okay, once you get it like that, put it on one of your needles. Now, this first step is called casting on. This is what you're going to do in order to get ready to knit. Now, if you're using a pattern, you're going to cast on however many it says to cast on. If you're just doing it on your own and you're making up your own pattern, and you need to cast on about however many you think wide you're going to need it to be. So that blanket I'm making had a bunch of cast-ons in the very beginning, but a scarf not being very wide would not require being that many cast on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You could do about 12, 15. You can do whatever you want. But for this, we're going to do, we'll say 10. Okay. So I'm going to hold this similar to when I crochet, but you're going to switch. You're going to hold the tail with your knitting hook. Knitting hook, that's not it. Knitting needle. You're going to hold the tail with your knitting needle. And then you got this other piece with your other hand. Now, this will only work one way. So if you get it wrong, it won't work. And you'll know if you got it wrong. So if you wrap around your finger the wrong way, when you do this, it'll just flap around. It won't cast on. But if you wrap it the correct way, which, let's see, hold my finger like that. If I wrap it like this and I go under that, that's cast on. It stayed. Okay, so look, if I do it like that, that didn't work. See, if I just do that, it didn't work. So I have to wrap the correct direction and then go under, because look, this one is on top of this. If it's not on top of that, then that won't work. You go under it and pull. That's all you do. Wrong way. I'm supposed to be holding this. Right way, because I can go under it and pull. Don't pull super tight. Under it and pull. Oops. Make sure it's lining up. If it doesn't, you can fix it. You can fix anything. You don't have to freak out if you mess up. You can start over. There's only one way to wrap it, because if you don't wrap it the right way, it won't cross over the top. So you can go under that and make a loop. I'm going to do it real slow in front of the camera for you. That's wrong, see, because it's not crossing over. So I go like that, go under that, and pull. Not so tight. Okay, wrong way, right way. Under and pull. Under and pull. Okay, so I wasn't counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more. And we have 10. Now, after you have cast on your amount, work it up to the top, because that's where you're going to have the least resistance when you're doing the first knitting. You want to use where the wooden or whatever it's made from, where your needle gets smaller. Okay, so you're going to switch hands. So you put your cast on one in your other hand, your non-dominant hand. So if you're switching, you know, opposite of me, that's why I don't want to really say left and right. But you cast on with your dominant hand, and now you're going to switch to your non-dominant hand. You're going to have the empty one in your dominant hand. Now, to do this, you're going to hold, I always say with my peace fingers, you're going to hold that there, and then you're going to hold with the rest of your fingers that needle. So all you have with this one is the blank. Now, you go through the first hoop that you have there. So you're going to use this, the smaller part of your needle, to bring it through. Now, after you bring it through, you're going to wrap it. You can wrap this way or that way, whichever way helps you to do it. You got to hold these threads in place with your other fingers so they don't all come sliding off. So, and you have to adjust your fingers, because you don't want the loop to come sliding off until you get that to go back through. Sorry, I'm all thumbs today. Okay. You go behind, get that, come through, and slide it off. So it comes off of your first needle. Now, I'm going to do this again because I know that it's hard for you to see this in this video. and the lighting is not perfect. Okay, so you move it up here by the top. You don't want it too tight. That's why you don't want it too tight. Okay, you're gonna go into that first loop. So up and under, and then you're going to grab that long piece and pull it through that and slide it off of the other needle. Okay, so if I can get this to where it's just so hard to watch the camera and watch this at the same time. Go into the hoop, grab that and pull it through, and then slide that other piece off of that other side. So you're gonna go into that loop, grab that thread that you're holding up, and pull it as you slide off the other piece. So you're transferring from one needle to the other. Each time you switch, you're transferring from one needle to the other. And then be careful not to split your threads like I'm trying to do right there. All you're doing is interlocking loops. That's all knitting is. It's interlocking loops. So you're just switching loop to loop. So you go, gotta move it up. You go in to the one. Oh, see, my thread is splitting. I've been working with it so much today in all these videos that it's starting to really wear and split. Okay, so you go in, you grab the thread with the point of that needle, you're gonna pull it through that. That makes a new loop on this needle, and you slide that other loop off that other needle. So we're switching. Look, I've almost switched. I've almost transferred all 10 rings over to the other needle. Okay, in there, loop around, pull it through, and slide it off. Okay, we've got 3 more to go. In there, loop around, pull it through, and slide it off. 2 more. Get them up here by the top. Okay. In there, not splitting it. Wrap it around, pull it through, slide it off. Last one. You still do it. Under the hoop, wrap it around. You gotta, this one's kind of tiresome because you gotta hold it on there and keep that tail out of the way. Okay, so in the hoop, wrap it around, pull it through, and then let it slide off. So you've got it all back on one needle again. And then you switch again, put the full one in your non-dominant hand and the empty one in your dominant hand. Okay, so as you can see, you have your first little tiny bit of a scarf or whatever you're making. So that's your first row, and you've only got a gazillion more to go, but that's okay, because when you guys get comfortable with this, it's going to go really quickly. These larger needles are harder to use. I will tell you, these are harder to use. Those small ones, those little plastic ones, go really easy. So I bet chopsticks, I've never actually done it, but I bet if you make your own from chopsticks, it'd be pretty easy to use because they're smaller. I hope you like to knit. Let me know if you have any questions. Oh, and by the way, just like with crochet, if you mess this up, if you hate it and you messed it up, don't freak out. Don't lose anything. Slide it off. Watch what happens. Hold the one end and the other end, and voila, it's all done. There's not even a single knot in it. You can start all the way over again. Thanks for watching.